Hi, children's book author Timothy Leistner here, and I'd like to share one of my special books with you today. My book, Stitch and Sew, The Doll Maker's Story by Timothy Leistner. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll put these over here for a second, and if you'll listen, I'll read along. Stitch and Sew, The Doll Maker's Story. And it's in memory of Gayanne Anita Leistner Wonderland, who was the doll maker. Stitch and Sew. I'm thinking at this time of the doll maker, an industrious woman who loved to make dolls. She was the hardworking mother of two. Her time was limited and her resources were few. She used what she had, cast off fabric and such, which emerged into dolls with her talented touch. Each minute was busy, working all day. The housework, the childcare, left little time to be gay. Work came first, and free time was spare. She toiled for all, and time for her was rare. But at night, when the house was straightened, all the chores were done, and everyone was safely tucked into bed, she would begin making her dolls. Stitch and sew, making dolls throughout the night. Each one had to be just right. Stitch and sew, and her doll collection began to grow. From discarded clothing, old fabric, and scraps, she made new dolls with passion, perhaps. She did not call them rag dolls, although they may be. These dollies weren't rags. They had personality. Stitch and sew, making dolls throughout the night. Each one had to be just right. Stitch and sew, and soon there was a cute duo. These two were cute, but they needed a friend. She made one more before this night did end. She worked through each day, but as the night moon appeared, she started her stitching, and new dolls premiered. Stitch and sew, making dolls throughout the night. Each one had to be just right. Stitch and sew, and now a doll trio. 1, 2, 3. She made a pretty doll, a funny doll, and a doll from old time past. Each doll was quite durable. Each was made to last. Dolls from diverse places, dolls of different races, dolls with happy faces. Stitch and sew, making dolls throughout the night. Each one had to be, that's right, just right. Stitch and sew, dolls in the color of a rainbow. Dolls dressed in red, orange, yellow, and blue. Dolls dressed in green, violet, indigo too. Stitch and sew, making dolls throughout the night. Each one had to be just right. Stitch and sew, and finally 10 dolls sitting in a row. Each doll was hand-stitched. Each doll was unique. It's a joy to see them, so go take a peek. Stitch and sew, making dolls throughout the night. Stitch and sew, each one had to be just right. So should you visit on some late evening quest, don't be surprised to find her working at her best. The doll maker makes each doll with love, as if God is calling her from our home above. The end. I hope you enjoyed the book Stitch and Sew, The Doll Maker's Story. It's available with my other books on Amazon.com. Stay safe and enjoy the gift of reading. This is Timothy Leistner saying have a great day. Bye now.